Walking the streets of Lima, it was quite a difference when we suddenly saw Huaca Pucllana come into view. It was an interesting juxtaposition between the modern cars and buildings and then the ancient adobe ruins up ahead. Once we arrived at the main entrance, we had to wait a little while, as you can only go in a tour group, and they alternated between English and Spanish-speaking tour groups.
So first of all, let me welcome you to Peru, welcome you to this beautiful city, Lima 1, and welcome you to Huaca Pucllana. This is an archaeological site developed by Lima society, Lima culture, Lima civilization, pre-Inca society, right? This society they developed, they established in the central coast that nowadays known as Lima, Peru. No? That is the name, Lima society.
Nee, ik ga naar jou wijzen.
Remember, also, if you have any question, please, Super Mario, it's me. Remember also that Huaca Pucllana are Quechua words, right? Quechua was the dialect, one of the dialects spoken in my ancestors' days, right? Huaca Pucllana in Quechua, Huaca in Quechua means sacred place, like a holy land. And Pucllana means like a playground, place. This society made different performances, right? Practically, this place is a sacred one, or this society, Lima one, they use to practice different rituals.
The ruin site was originally built by the Lima culture, who used it as a temple and later as a burial grounds. We actually saw a couple of the mummy containers. They were conquered by the Inca Empire. The Incas used this site as a human settlement. Inca settlers added terraces to the sides of the pyramid. The bricks were laid vertically rather than horizontally. This was done to help minimize the effects of earthquakes, as the vertical system and spacing between the bricks helped to minimize the effects of earthquakes when they happened.
Now let's talk about that anti-seismic technique. If you realize adobe mud bricks, they are located in vertical position, like this, right? Also, if you realize there is a tiny space between each others, right? Those spaces get the principal purpose to absorb in order to minimize the energy of that earthquake. Practically having this trapezoidal shape, right? The pyramid and walls, they start to move in harmony with earthquakes and avoid the building and walls collapse. So practically, my friends, we are talking about a civilization developed 200 years AD. Means 1,000 years before Inca Empire. And they developed that anti-seismic technique. Is original. It's a Warango tree, South American tree, 1,500 years old. Second society, right? Remember, Lima society, they were the one who built this place, right? This pyramid. Second society, Wari society, coming from the Andes, south part of Peru, Ayacucho region. Nowadays it's known as Ayacucho region, right? Right up there in the Andes, south part of Peru.
This was our first chance to see coca leaves, although it wouldn't be our last, as we would be needing them when we get up to high altitude later on in the trip. The animals were cute, but we also had to keep in mind that they were a food source for the locals.
Yeah, this is the restoration part, right? Those sizes, yeah, human sacrifices. So my friend, this is our last stop, okay? Practically this area was the quarry, right? Was the place where that society, they elaborate millions and millions of adobe mud bricks. Exactly, we know exactly the date, right? This is probably about the food that these people ate, right? Remember, back then, no sauté beef, no lomo saltado, no pork, deep fried, no chicharrones, right? Practically all food coming from ocean, right?
We really enjoyed our visit to Huaca Pucllana. It was very inexpensive. Took a little bit more than an hour to walk around, but we had a great guide, great sights, and we highly recommend it. On our next vlog, we'll be heading south, making our way along the coast of Peru.